Hello everyone, I'm Chef N'Gai Dickerson with the American Heart Association, and welcome to Family Celebrations, Healthy Cooking with Heart. This series is brought to you by a generous donor in collaboration with the American Heart Association and employers in Eastern North Carolina to support longer, healthier lives for their employees. Hi everybody, we've got some great recipes here we're going to do for you all, but the first one we're going to start with is the teriyaki salmon with cauliflower rice, okay? Really excited about this. The cooking method here we're going to use today is going to be a nice sear. We're going to sear the salmon really well. Make sure we get nice crisp on that skin. And knife skills, I'm just doing a basic mince, kind of a really small dice with the cauliflower because we want it to look like rice, so it's not really rice, okay? This is actual rice. So I'm going to take some brown rice, and this is another healthy carb that you can add to your diet. But how do we stretch that out? We can add cauliflower to it and make your taste buds think it's all rice. All right, so you kind of want to trick yourself a little bit. The first thing I'm gonna do is making sure I get a really good glaze. So this glaze I'm doing is a teriyaki glaze, all right? That's gonna be our sauce for the day. You know, I have to have some type of sauce to my dishes, so we'll add that to it. We're gonna have our soy sauce. You're gonna need some type of citrus, so I love apple cider vinegar. We're gonna add that to it. And I have a white rice wine vinegar in there as well. Then I have a little bit of balsamic I'm gonna add to give it a little bit more color. So we're gonna add that to it. And then I like to add a little bit of sesame oil to it normally. What I can do is I can cook that down and add to it that way. But I'm gonna make sure I sear the salmon with sesame oil, and I can skip that part. So I'm gonna go ahead and start my pan with my salmon, okay? As you can see, it's starting to boil and it's going to reduce some. I'm going to add my sugar to it. So you want to add that sweet, that salty kind of thing going on. Take that, let that cook down in there, all right? And if you do all that right, you'll have some really good soy sauce right there for you. Now we also have garlic I'm going to add to my teriyaki glaze too, just a little bit, goes a long way. It just makes it awesome. Then I'll add my water, just to thin it out. And it also keeps it from burning, all right? So now we're gonna take our cauliflower rice and we're gonna start that. You know, I like to multitask while I'm doing this. That way I can get it all done at one time, all right? Just wanna get my pan started. I take majority of my cauliflower rice and I'll add that to it. All right, I'm gonna put that off to the side. So I have my onion, I'm gonna take that and just kind of dice it, nice and small. I don't need a whole lot of it. I'm not looking for perfect cuts, I just want them to be somewhat the same size. Okay, so we're looking for a dice, and we're just going to take them and saute them in this pan behind me. All right, in that pan I add a little bit of fat to it. That's going to help kind of brown my onions and my rice together. Then that's when I'll add my cauliflower rice mixture to it. And I leave a little bit larger pieces in there just to give me some texture when I'm eating them. So it's, you know, I don't mind seeing the vegetables in there. I don't have them all mixed, but that's just something I've learned as I started making the dish more. Now, when I'm taking these, and you'll see it starts to reduce really quickly. So you want to pull that off, all right? Let that kind of do its thing on the side. And you'll see it coming to a boil really quickly. So you want to let that sit there and just kind of cool, all right? Let that stick right there for a second. Now we have our salmon. We're going to go ahead and sear our salmon. Before I did that, I damped it really well. I made sure I blotted all the moisture off of it. That makes it sear really well. So, all right. I have some family over today, so I'm gonna cook a few extra pieces, all right? But the first thing I'm gonna do is make sure I put my skin side down. All right, put my skin side down. You don't want to crowd your pan, and you want to season kind of high. So if you're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to it, that's totally fine. It won't hurt a thing. And what you don't want to do is add your glaze too early, because that's going to make it sear, all right? And we all know family celebrations are all about making memorable dishes that you can pass on. And I know that's one big thing in my family. We try to pass on. Now, I might not do it the same way, but I'll do my spin on it. So I think that's what makes it cool with family. And guess what? A celebration could be anything. It can be, it's Thursday night. You know, you can make a celebration up out of anything. And just make sure you spend that time with your family, which is huge, all right? So I'm gonna sear that. I'm gonna bring this up some. I'm gonna add a little bit of cilantro and parsley, but I also wanna make sure I'm adding some basil. Sweet basil is something additional I add to it just to give it more of a sweet taste, all right? So I'm gonna take my garlic and I'm gonna mince my garlic together. Smashing those a little bit. And I just do a quick rough chop. Nothing crazy here. Just a little rough chop. And I don't mind extra garlic in our dishes too. That's really going to be a staple of a lot of the flavor you're getting. Add that to it. I already have my salmon almost where I want it. And if you do it right, you get a nice seared salmon. Okay? And look at that, I did that right that time. Okay? All right. Looks good. I like to try to cook them about medium and then pull them off and let them kind of, follow through that way. But you don't want to cook them too much where they dry out. That's important. So I wanted to make sure before I moved on to the next recipe is that I picked salmon because it's really healthy. It tastes good too. Now, when you think about mercury levels and stuff like that, it's really low on the mercury level side too, as far as predatory fish, okay? So you want to have something, it sears up really well and it's really fleshy. So you want to have something that could hold up to the heat and not just break apart. This fish I usually try to get people to cook first because it has the skin, and then I'll just pull the skin off of it, all right? And I paired it with the brown rice because brown rice, it's closer to the whole actual grain of rice. Rice is not necessarily, the white rice is more so gonna process like sugar in your body, okay? This is gonna keep you a little bit full, keep you full a little bit longer. And at this point in my life, it tastes better, When I eat white rice, it kind of just breaks apart and it's just all mushy. This gives me a little more to chew and it kind of satisfies me a little bit better because we're gonna have carbs in our diet, right? We're just gonna have carbs in our diet. It's kind of hard to get away, but you wanna go with healthy carbs. You don't have to go the no carb. If you're like me, when you tell me no, it's like, what do you mean no? But if you say, hey, this is a healthy carb, okay, I can still have carbs, but it's another way I can ingest this and still feel happy and still be healthy about it. So I suggest trying that out, and it pairs really well with that. Look how pretty that is together, So you definitely want to think about looks and stuff like that too. But salmon and brown rice, those are two things you can go to for a quick dish. You don't have to do a whole lot. And I want to make sure I'm adding, they have a lot of the 1 minute or the boil in the bag that you can go ahead and drop in some water. And you can go ahead and get that right out. Because some people don't cook, they stay away from the brown rice because it takes so long. But this is quick, and 10 minutes, you have brown rice ready to go. Now my fresh basil, I'll take and just add that. Roughly, when I'm gonna do a little later, I'm gonna plate all this up, and you get to see the display. So family style serving is very important too during that time. So everybody can kind of get their own servings, All right. And then I just add a bunch of herbs to it to make it look, really tasty. I already chopped my chives up, so I'll just add those to it. All right? I'm feeling pretty good about that. And then on the other side, I'll just let it kind of hang out. You know, let it hang out and do its thing. I don't want to mess with it too much more. I'll just cut my heat off and let that residual kind of finish that up. And you cannot forget your cilantro. I'm gonna rough chop my cilantro a little bit more. But a little bit of cilantro goes a long way, I'm telling you. Nice and high. Now, all I'm gonna do is let this sit for a little bit. I got the browning I want to get. I got my garlic brown and I have everything I wanted to brown, so I don't have to worry about that. And now all we have to do is wait for the family to come. So all this is done. I'll just kind of, when they get here, what I would do is I would just take these, I would heat the sauce up. You know, I would take the salmon, pop the salmon in the oven, and I would just finish with the cauliflower rice, and that'll be it, all right? That's what it's all about. Everything could be a family celebration. You know, family gets together, and it's a great time to try new healthy things. You don't have to use the word healthy, okay? I like to use the word wholesome, okay, in my family. That kind of works for my family. So find a key word that's going to get everybody to eat the food and enjoy this, all right? And you can get an extra plate. If I tell my family you can have 2 portions because it's healthy, they normally come on, you know, get 2 portions. So keep that in mind. Chef N'Gai Dickerson again. Enjoy.